Wrexham are actually saving Ipswich's transfer window, and Ipswich will think it's their lucky day because Wrexham have decided to start their charity and start putting it towards Ipswich Town, or that's what they'll feel like right now after what's happened in the last few days with Wrexham and Ipswich. If you're an Ipswich and Wrexham fan, do hit subscribe on this channel. We do daily Championship content. If you're a fan of the Championship in general, do hit that subscribe button and do drop a like as well if you do go on to enjoy the video. So it all starts with the news with Wrexham. Now, they've lost their heads in the transfer market in the last few days because we'll just take it back a few days where Wrexham thought they'd start their charity and give it to Sheffield United because reports came out that they were interested in Kefir Moore for £4 million. Now, I need answers as to who's setting up these prices and who's in charge of these Wrexham transfers if they think that Kefir Moore of an opening bid or whatever's getting discussed here of £4 million. I don't know where this conclusion's getting drawn to on Kefir Moore because the guy is 32 years old and you're spending £4 million on him. He scored 6 goals or 5 goals in the Championship. It was 6 goals in the Championship last season and he can't run. And they're out here spending £4 million potentially. That's the fee being talked about for Kefir Moore, who is an absolute cart horse. Now, it's a questionable transfer to say the least from Wrexham, that is right there. He could be a decent signing for Wrexham, don't get me wrong, you know, he's got obviously a good physical presence, he can hold the ball up quite well, and on his day he's okay, but if you watched him for Sheffield United, he was pretty diabolical for the most part of the season and was a painful watch, obviously set up the goal in the playoff final as well. It was a painful watch to watch Kefir Moore last season, and for Sheffield United, I think they would take, if Sheffield United got £1 million, 1.5 million, got their money back because they signed him for £1.5 million, I think Sheffield United fans would absolutely bite your arm off for that and say, happy days, we will take Kefir Moore and we'll take our money back for a 32-year-old who nobody else wants and is going to sign for any real fee. And Wrexham are out here making up fees and talking about £4 million, which would be one of the most overpriced players in Championship history and one of the biggest robberies in Championship history. And Sheffield United would be laughing all the way to the bank. Now, the rumours came out that Phil Parkinson has £10 million to spend on a new striker. That was the rumours, and it looks to be the case that he is going to be bringing somebody in. It's not going to be Kefir Moore at £4 million, the 32-year-old, which Sheffield United fans will be gutted at that one because they could have had the ultimate robbery in Championship history right there, but they didn't manage to get it. Kefir Moore looks to be staying at Sheffield United right now. You never know, they could even sign both, who knows. But then the latest news coming out that Wrexham have actually, or look to be now, signing Nathan Broadhead from Ipswich. Now, I think he's a good player, Nathan Broadhead. Very tidy player, very good technically. Can play on the left, can play also up top as well. Now, I don't know what kind of position he'll actually kind of slot into that Wrexham team. Maybe as a striker, as they are saying they want another striker. Yes, I know, yet another striker. We'll take a look at Wrexham strikers in a second and see where Broadhead can kind of fit in. But he's 27 years old. I think he's a very good player, as I say. Technically good player. Obviously, last time he was in the Championship, did really well. Scored 13 goals and got 3 assists. Now, he's actually got 1 year left on his contract, which, as I say, Ipswich, well, when a player's got 1 year left in his contract and you feel like he might not sign, who knows? We don't know if Broadhead would want to sign for Ipswich or not. But 1 year left in his contract automatically just decreases his value. His market value always says there 2.5 million. Don't really read too much into it, but that's the kind of fee that I think Broadhead would be worth. Like £4 million, I'd probably say is a fair price. The fee being talked about with Ipswich and Wrexham is £7.5 million. Now, where are they plucking these numbers out of Wrexham? Like, are they coming in with opening bids and discussing these prices at £7 million? Have Wrexham got some kind of tax that they have to pay more because they're Wrexham? Because I don't feel like Nathan Broadhead is worth £7.5 million in the slightest. I've seen some Ipswich fans saying it's undervalued. There's no way for a guy with 1 year left in his contract. And I said on my TikTok, he's not like some kind of spring chicken or anything. He's 27 years old. You're not going to get too much resale value in him in a couple of years' time when he's 29. It's very unlikely you're going to be getting your money back for Nathan Broadhead. This is a straight loss in terms of Ipswich, in terms of Wrexham, in terms of transfer budget, which I'm sure they're not too bothered about in the slightest. But if you're looking at it from an Ipswich perspective, if we just look at their current lineup of wingers and kind of players that can play in that forward line, they've got a lot of players that Ipswich have spent a lot of money on who Kieran McKenna obviously wants to see the best out of. Now, they signed him in the Premier League, these players, last season. It was very difficult to see the best out of him in a side that's obviously going to be down there at the bottom of the league. The players that can play in Nathan Broadhead's position, you've of course got Jack Clark, who can play on the left. Sammy Schmoditz can also operate in them kind of areas. And Jaden Philogene as well, with a Bene on the wing as well, who's still like a new signing. You've still got Amari Hutchinson. Where would Nathan Broadhead for Ipswich fit in terms of a week in, week out starter? The answer is he'll probably be on the bench or coming in and out of the side. And that's probably not what Nathan Broadhead wants. With a year left on his contract, he wants to be playing week in, week out. And for Ipswich, you're looking at a fee there for a player that he would be very valuable to Ipswich this season, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the money that they're getting from £7.5 million, it's an absolute no-brainer for Ipswich to take that. With 1 year left in his contract, 27 years old, it makes perfect sense for Ipswich to sell. Now, I'm not saying for Wrexham he would be a bad signing. If we just quickly have a look at Wrexham and see what kind of players they've got, I think Nathan Broadhead would instantly come in and improve that forward line for Wrexham wherever he does play, if he's on the left, if he's up top, wherever he ends up playing. Now, he's an upgrade on the majority of these players, in my opinion. And they've already brought in the likes of Ryan Hardy, which is a good signing as well. They've also got Josh Windass as well. Their forward line is definitely improving, but there's no doubt that Wrexham will be overpaying for a player like Broadhead. I would think that they would have been a bit more shrewd in terms of the business, in terms of the players that they'd signed, but they obviously just don't really care about the money. There's no doubt Nathan Broadhead will be playing week in, week out in that Wrexham side. So, overall, it will be a good signing for Wrexham, but the price is definitely hefty. But then just going back onto Ipswich, you obviously they're getting a big fee of £7.5 million, which is being talked about for Nathan Broadhead. If we just have a look at the player that they're looking to sign, and it looks like to have agreed a fee of around about, I think, £15-20 million for Hayden Hackney. That money from Broadhead obviously goes towards Hayden Hackney and gives Ipswich a bit more flexibility in terms of what they can spend and what they want to spend in the transfer market. In terms of financial, obviously big benefit getting that £7.5 million. You're signing then Hayden Hackney, who I've spoken about Ipswich a few times. They desperately need a central midfielder. They've currently got that player they brought in from the French League. They've also got Taylor as well, but they need more bodies in there. Obviously, they lost Sam Morsey, who's a big loss. They lost Massimo Luongo, who's been there for a few years. Kayuste was there on loan last season, who they lost. And as well as that, they also lost Calvin Phillips, who was also on loan as well. So they're basically down to the bare bones in terms of central midfielders. And now they're bringing in a central midfielder, which is so good at bringing the ball forward, very good on the ball. Defensive work off the ball is very impressive as well. He's literally got everything Hayden Hackney has, and he's a player that's still only 23 years old, just turned 23 years old, and can improve a lot, in my opinion. He's a future Premier League player. And this is the kind of signing that Ipswich are making, where they think we can develop him in the Championship, get another season of experience in the Championship at a top team, and then he'll be ready to make that step up to the Premier League. And I'm surprised, as not as many Premier League teams have been going in for him, and there's not really been like a bidding war over Hayden Hackney. I think for Ipswich to get away with this transfer without much competition from other sides, I think he had interest from Porto in January and a bit in the summer as well. But to get away with that kind of little competition in terms of this summer, it's an unbelievable piece of business, in my opinion, from Ipswich, and it's a player that will be in their midfield for the years to come. They can develop, and they can potentially sell on for a profit in future years. You really do think that, they're signing for 15-20 million. Give him a season in the Premier League if he does well. You could be talking at at 25 years old, you could be talking like a £30+ million player and some nice profit for Ipswich. And I think that's a great piece of business. And big loss for Middlesbrough, who's been such an important player for the last few seasons now. And I think it's a really good piece of business from Ipswich, and it's exactly what they need in terms of them wanting to make that kind of statement signing and push towards the Premier League, because I was a little bit concerned with the business they've done, and I don't think they've done enough. But bringing in a player like Hayden Hackney, for me, is a statement signing from Ipswich, saying that we're going straight back up to the Premier League. And I think this is a signing with the Premier League in mind in the future as well. So let me know what you think of this kind of transfer business from Wrexham for bringing in Broadhead. I think a great fee for Ipswich. And then Ipswich bringing in Hayden Hackney. And what do you think of Wrexham spending in general in terms of the players that they've been linked with, in terms of Kefir Moore for £4 million? Let me know what you think of all that in the comment section down below. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, do drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Thank you very much for watching. Also, do subscribe. If you watch this point, you may as well hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.